Okay, hello guys, and welcome to my very first IGTV editing tutorial. Now, I know many of you have been asking for these for quite a while, but I'm glad to announce that we are now beginning with the tutorials. I'm hoping to make this a very regular thing. I think it could really help you guys out with editing and give you a little insight into my process as well. Now, I'm going to kind of jump right into it because I don't want this to be too long. I'm going to try and explain, my process as I go along, but I'm going to try and keep it nice and short. So let's start off with the photo anyway. I took this in Tokyo. I took this at Chido Riga Fuji Mote. God, that was difficult. So I took it there. I took it around sunset time. And yeah, pretty nice image. But as you can see right now, it's a little flat. Nothing's really popping out at us, and there's a lot of work to be done. So let us begin. So to start things off, I will click this arrow on the left-hand side because I want to get rid of the left-hand, menu, just to create a lot of space for me to work on the photo. And at the bottom, we're going to click that arrow too. So as you can see, the library has gone from down bottom, and now we've just got our image. So first things first, I am going to crop the photo. So you can either click on crop overlay up here, or as you can see in brackets, you can press R, which will take you straight to the crop. Now, instead of going for the 4:5, like Instagram's maximum size, I go for 1:1 initially, just to figure out how I want to crop my photo. Now let's see, I'm going to do something a little like this. Yeah, that looks about right. Let's see, hold option and move up. Yeah, I'd say that looks fine. What I'm trying to do is create the same amount of distance from that boat to the bottom of the square and the cloud to the top of the square. Because that's what I'm thinking about now is how this is gonna look on my feed, because that's very important for people that aren't already following you. Their first impressions of you on the explore page is going to be that 1:1 image, not the 4:5. So let's see how that looks as a square. I think that looks pretty nice. So we go back to crop. Let's make it a 4:5 now. Hold option and drag down, and there you go. Maybe move that over just a little bit. Okay, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, okay, that's it. That's good. Okay, so to begin with, we will go to basics, the basic tab on the right hand side, and we'll start working on it. I think that's maybe a little bit warm. I'm going to get down to 5,400. And from there, I think the tint around about the same, maybe a little bit less. And anyway, down to exposure, I'm going to say, I bet I need to change that actually, it's not too bad. So exposure minus 0.1, and then straight to highlights. As you can see, the sky is really blown out. We've lost a fair bit of detail in the not lost detail, but we haven't got much definition in the sky. So we're going to take the highlights down to, let's say, minus 90. Yeah, that looks pretty good, like that. Yeah, way better. Now we've already got the details back in the sky. Lots of color in the cloud and the blue sky behind it. I'm going to lift the shadows. I want to get some details back from beneath the trees. As you can see, it was pretty dark there before. Let's say plus 35. I'm going to leave the whites for now, or maybe, let's see, maybe just plus 5, just a little bit. And then the blacks up to plus, I'm going to say plus 40. And I know it's looking a little flat right now, but maybe we'll give it a bit of contrast. Let's see, maybe just 10 for now, because I'm going to work on the tone curve for a minute. Clarity, dehaze, vibrance, saturation, I'm going to leave all of them. I may play with clarity towards the end, but as for the others, I don't tend to use them. I really work on vibrance and saturation in the HSL and camera calibration. So anyway, down to the tone curve. I like to divide this up into 5 parts. So as you can see at the bottom, we've got blacks, here we've got shadows, midtones, highlights, and whites. Now what I usually do is create an S kind of shape, a little like this. This is what I use for most of my photos. There we go. And I pull the whites down just a little bit. So as you can see, there you go. If I turn that off, turn that on, makes quite a big difference. Added quite a lot of contrast to the scene. Again, we've lost a little bit in the sky, so maybe I'll just take that down to 100. There we go, before and after already, like making huge changes really. Okay, so now the tone curve is done. We're going to move on to HSL. I'm actually going to click on all, so instead of just doing hue, then saturation, then luminance, I'll just click on all, so all options come up in one place. It makes it much easier to navigate. So I'm thinking right now, all we want to really change, I mean, most things seem to be okay. I quite like the yellows as they are, maybe just +5, make them a little colder. Then we've got aqua. Yeah, aqua. We've got a lot of aqua in the sky, as you can see. I'm going to make that cooler, maybe take that to like +45, something like that. And then we've got the blues, which I'm just going to move to +5, so just a little bit. Okay, then to saturation, let's see. So as you can see, we've got a lot of reds kind of in the trees, and I really want those to pop a little bit more. So if we take that down, yeah, they're reds. So I'm just going to move that up to, say, around about 40, something like that. Maybe not, maybe 25 is fine. Okay, then oranges, as you can see, we've got some orange in the cloud up here. We've got some in the building and in the water, so I'm going to move that up to about let's say +20 for now. Don't want to do it too overpowering. Then moving down to the blues, I'm going to desaturate those a little bit. I like to use luminance when I'm actually working with skies. I tend to desaturate the colors and then just make them darker through luminance. And then moving on finally, trying to make the trees a little bit brighter. Yep, that seems to work. We'll bring the luminance up to, let's say 65. Ooh, no, we do not want to do that. The oranges just up to 10. Because I'm trying to make the oranges a little bit brighter in the building, the water and the clouds. And moving down, we've got aqua again, which is in the sky, as you can see there, making it a little bit darker. And finally with the blue. So that's what I was talking about. Just to make that blue darker in the sky, I always tend to use luminance. So yeah, we'll leave that at -50. That seems to be good. Then down to split toning. I'm going to make the highlights a little bit warmer, ever so slightly. Just put that up to 3%. Barely any changes there at all. Okay, moving on from here, let's go down. Sharpening, if we zoom in, I mean, the image is fairly sharp anyway. I'm going to leave that. Perhaps I'll take the luminance noise reduction down. I usually do this for every one of my photos just to make it a little bit softer. And color, I will leave that at 25. There doesn't seem to be a lot of color noise in this image, so that shouldn't be a problem. Okay, moving down. For this image, I've left lens corrections, but there are other images where I will use that, but I'll talk about that more in the future. Moving down. Oh, I always tend to click level on transform. It may make a slight change. It did absolutely nothing. Never mind. Some photos it works and balances out your photo horizontally and vertically, but that seems to be fine. And then down to vignette. I actually always use a vignette on my photos. We'll just go to -10, nothing too strong. Maybe play around with the feathering a little bit, just up to 55, just to make that a little bit softer around the edges. And then down to calibration, the final part of the changes on this right-hand menu. We'll go with, let's see, the reds. Maybe just a +20. Greens, nothing drastic for greens, just +10. And then blue, we will go for minus. Oh, that looks much better. -25, I think. Yeah. Let's see, before and after. -25. Okay, so already looking way better. Now we're going to quickly move on to our tools up here. So we've got the gradient filter, radial filter, and the brush. And I'm going to start things off with the radial filter. Now, what I'm looking to do here is I'm trying to darken the sky up a little bit here and darken these corners down in the bottom and also lift the shadows up in this area. So let's start off with the sky up here. Press O. Oh yeah, you can press O to check out the overlay, so you'll see where this gradient is taking an effect, which is nice and handy. So let's look. Okay, all seems good. We'll just go to -0.5. -0.5 seems to be nice. We can always change this a little bit later on if needs be. Then let's go new. And first off, we shall just lift those shadows. Okay, done. That looks much, much better. We're getting much more detail back in the image now. So lift those shadows up to about 25. And then let's say just 2 more. We'll put one in this corner here, just make it a little bit darker because we know the sunlight isn't hitting it. And another one down in this corner. Okay, much better, much better. So that's the radial filters done. As you can see, we've got one here, taking the exposure down, another one here lifting the shadows, and then just darkening those corners, almost as the vignette did. Okay, next step, we will move on to the radial filters. So a few things I'm looking to do here. I'm looking to bring a little bit of light in from the top right hand side, and then I'm just looking to up the whites in this area because I would love to draw the focus onto the boats as they are moving down that winding river with the trees kind of leading the way. So let's start up here first. I always kind of try to work top down as I go. Let's see, perhaps a 1? Yeah, 1 in exposure, 1.3. Yeah, that seems nice. And then I will do another one near the top. Maybe make this a little bit brighter. Maybe a 1.4. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I could go for that. Okay, next steps. What else have we got to do now? Okay, so also I want a bit of light coming in here. So not only just at the top, I also want some coming in over here and hitting these trees. I think that would look really neat. So let's push that up to, 1. Use the brush, and if we press O, we can see where this radial filter is overlaid. So I've got the flow on 100, which is kind of the strength. I won't use it. I will use auto mask now just to make sure it properly deletes it from the tree. And I've put the brush on erase because I'm just looking to erase that effect right now on this side of the trees, because there's no way they would be as bright as the trees over on this side if the light was coming in from over that way. Okay, let's see that. Yeah, okay, it's looking good. And then just to brighten these guys up a little bit. So just 1 in there, let's say plus 0.5, and then I will just up the whites to, let's say, 25. Okay. Okay, looking good, looking good, looking good. Next step is the brush, and it actually is the final step. So all I'm trying to do right here is just brighten up the trees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush over the trees first. And I'm going to press the letter O just to check out where that's going. Just to make sure it's not going on any other part of the image, say the building's above it or something like that. I'm actually going to move the feathering up too, just to make the edges a little bit softer and slightly more forgiving. Okay, so I will be back in a moment. All I'm going to do right now is just brush over these trees in preparation for colouring them a little bit more pink, because trust me, they are pretty pink in real life, and this raw image really doesn't do it justice. Okay, good. Okay, there we are. That's about it for now. We can actually start working on what that mask is going to look like and how it could actually transform those trees. So I'll set the exposure back to 0 and start off with warmth. I'm going to make them a little bit warmer, put that up to 3. The tint, I'm going to move to 10 because I want them to look even more pink than they already are. Then exposure, as you can see, they're a little bit dark. So let's pull that up to 0.6, and there you go, already way better than they were. I'm actually going to pull the highlights down a little bit and then bring the whites up. There we go. So what we've done here is just made them far brighter than they were, just so they can lead these boats all the way through there. Yeah, nice. Next step is, I guess, saturation. Yeah, they're not as pink as I would have hoped just yet. Move the saturation up to 20. Remember, this is all experimental. It all depends on your taste, but I would go for around 20. And then I will add some pink here in the colours. Okay, and there we go. Let's take that saturation down to maybe 10, because that's a pretty severe pink. And then what I'm actually going to do finally is just erase a few little pieces. So let's say just in these gaps here, it wouldn't be as pink because there are usually some shadows. I think if we take the flow down to around 60, Command Z to undo what I just did. Okay, so we're just going to erase in these gaps here where it wouldn't be so bright. But remember, the flow is at around 60%, so we're not completely destroying it. We're just taking little bits out. Maybe up in this top corner here. I'll actually turn auto mask off just to give it a more natural kind of effect. Let's see. This wouldn't be so bright as the sun is coming over from behind it. Oh my. That's got rid of far too much. We'll take the flow down to 30. Just to be safe. Yeah, it's looking pretty neat. I'm going to take the exposure of the trees entirely down to 0.4. That's a bit better. They were looking a little bit too bright before. Okay, and I think we're pretty much done here. All I'm going to do is make some final touches, let's say just minus 0.4 with the radial filter, just to darken these corners a little bit more, as they would have been in real life. And here. And here. Okay, so there you go. I'm not too sure how long that one took. Oh, it took about 15 minutes, not too bad. So from start to finish, 15 minutes. There's the before, and there's the after. Before, after, before, after. Maybe a few little changes I'd make, maybe bring the highlights up to 90 or something like that. But remember, it's always good to go back on your edits and, review them perhaps a day later, just to see if you missed something beforehand. Or maybe you didn't. Maybe you smashed it. Who knows? But anyway, this is my first little tutorial, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to making the next one. Please let me know down in the comments what you think of it, and what photos you'd like me to edit next. All right then. Well, goodbye.